Hello there, this is Farm Kenya Show right here on KTN, and today we'll be looking at assorted birds type of farming. We'll be looking at ducks and chicken, and joining us is a young farmer who's called Gabriel Kimani. He will be just showing us and taking us even through everything that he does in order for him to accommodate them in the same space. We'll be talking to him and getting to understand what this means. My name is Calvin Nyakundi. Join me as we get right into this conversation today. All right, Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, let us look at assorted type of birds in the same space, and you're doing this type of farming. So what went into thinking about putting them in the same space?
Now, welcome to our farm, and here we have different types of birds. We have the ducks, and we have the Kienyeji.
Yes.
Cuckoos. So, what we started with ducks, and then later on, actually there were many. There were over 100 of them in the compound. So later on, we decided, why not? Let's try something else different. And then we introduced now chicks. This actually they have been wamelelewa hapa. They came as chicks. So now the journey from chicks all through up to now here. Actually, most of them they are on their way to now laying eggs. The Kienyeji ones. So since this year we started now the chicks part. So and it's actually doing very well. So far so good. We can't complain about it.
Okay, so let us also look at what goes into putting all of them in the same space. A farmer at home who's thinking, okay, I need to put all of this together. Maybe they have ducks, they have Kienyeji, and they would want to actually incorporate them in the same space. How do you make sure you plan yourself in terms of the space that you need, in terms of the structure that you need? What goes into that?
Number one thing, what you need is a poultry keeper, is a farmer who wants to now engage in poultry farming. Number one is the structure, where actually your birds will be sleeping later in the day. Because actually in the bigger day, they are actually out here. What we do is just give them food, and then we leave them out to scavenge anything that will come across. So from there, now goes to the structure part. We have a structure for them where they normally now stay. And structure now comes on size of birds you have and the numbers. See, ours they are not many. In here we have like, we have actually reduced the number. We had like 300 of them. Right now, I think these Kienyeji ones, they are around 200. And the ducks, they are around 100 in the whole farm. So we have like a capacity of 300 so far. But so in their structure, they are in there. That's where they lay their eggs. The structure is being done very well. Every day we clean it so that at least they don't get any disease or any infection from their feces.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we've looked at the structure, but now let's also get right into the small stuff, but really add really the importance of how these are taken care of. So with 300 assorted birds in your farm, what is the daily routine? How do you clean the way where they stay? How do you make sure they are fed? How do you make sure the water is there all the time? So you can take us through a normal day taking care of 300 birds.
Now, in a normal day here in the farm, these birds are given food at around 7 in the morning. Around 7 a.m. in the morning, all of them. First of all, we have these feeders that are all over the compound. So each feeder accommodates 10 kilos of food. So we have several of them. So that once they come out of their house, once they are here, now you can give them food here, out here. So number one is food. So you must have good food for these Kienyeji. Number one, we give them Kienyeji mash. So in Kienyeji mash, there is a lot of nutrients that they get. And that's why you can see them, they are growing and responding very well. So number one, it's the kind of food we give them. And number two, it's keeping their structure clean. Remember, these are birds. And their kinyesi yao mingi iko na ammonia mingi sana. So you need to keep on cleaning every day. So once they get out, there is somebody who goes back there and who normally goes back there and normally sweeps hiyo mbolea yote. And then we use it on our farm, on the part of the farm. So once asubuhi wakekewa food, wanaekewa maji, we have drinkers ziko huku nje, so wanaekewa maji. So every day, that is the routine. Tukikucha asubuhi, wanaekewa maji, wanaekewa food, and then wanashinda tu hapa. They don't go far. Actually, they just rotate within the home compound. They don't go very far. And actually, hata umekuja, umejionea, umewapata tu hapa. They don't go far, simply because wanashiba vizuri na wanakaa wakiwa very healthy.
All right. Hapo kwa kushiba, let us look at the feeds, because you have ducks and you also have chicken. So how do you manage that? And do they take the same kind of feeds? Yeah.
Now, kuku na bata, they are almost the same. All of them, they are birds. So whatever now we do, once we are formulating our own feeds, we normally formulate our own food here on the farm. So once we are formulating food, we formulate food that will be capable to feed ducks and at the same time feed the chickens, so that at least we can cut costs. Because number one, when you go to buy ducks food, it's expensive. A bag of it is quite, it's almost a bag of fertilizer. So you find, rather than now having foods for duck, foods for chicken, we normally now get them, one food, one mixture. And then we mix it very well, and then we give them. So there is no specific food for ducks and for the chicks in our farm.
Okay.
We mix them all.
Okay.
And then they feed together, all of them, at the same time.
All right.
So there is no bird which is receiving a special food, or the ducks are receiving a special meal. No. All of them, they take the same food. All what now we do, it's the stages. We normally have chicks, ducks, chicks, and then ducklings, and then we have now the small chicks. Those ones, they normally, they are levels at which they will take chick mash. There are a level which now the ducklings will have starter clams. There is now the growers level. Like these ones now, they are on growers mash.
Okay.
As we await for the egg laying part, whereby now we'll be going to the layers mash. Whereby now, it is the food that they will be consuming to stimulate the eggs production.
All right. And now, let's go back to the structure, because, of course, someone would want to know, you have ducks, you have chicken on the same space. How do you maintain them? Do they have different demarcations on the sleeping area, or they're put on the same place?
Actually, here on the farm, we are very lucky that we know the conditions of our birds. And now, simply that we are keeping them together, ducks, they actually have their room.
Okay.
Once the darkness comes, they normally head to their own structure. And then the chicks, the other birds, they normally head to their own structure. So they don't mix up when they get to sleep in their houses. So you have ducks, they have their own room, and the chicks, they have their own room.
Okay.
But out here, they actually mix very well. But in the evening, when they will be going back to their houses, ducks will go to their own room, and then the birds will go to their own. They don't mix.
Okay. That's pretty good. Now, when it comes to maintaining of hygiene, because you know you have many of them, these are 300. How does that look, and how often is the place where they're sleeping? How often is it cleaned so that at least they can stay there?
One thing, birds, these poultry and ducks and chickens, they are like human beings. You need to keep very good hygiene on the farm. So, number one thing, every day, once they come out, we must wash their drinkers where they are getting water from. If you have this kind of ducks, they normally like to play around with water. So you'll find them out here. Water sometimes itachafuka. So there is somebody who keeps on checking every day so that kuku wapate maji safi na bata wapate maji safi. So in here in the farm, zikitoka nje zinafagiliwa huko ndani. So that the coop huko mahali wanaishi, it's ever fresh na it's ever clean. So hata wakirudi ndani hawatapata ile kinyesi yenye walikuwa wamelala nayo huko ndani.
Okay.
Ama they pooped in there usiku. So during the day wanashinda huko nje, huko kunasafishwa, kunafagiliwa so that hiyo kinyesi inaenda shambani. Every day there is hata kama ni ndoo moja ama mbili tutapata, goes to the farm but maintains the room where they actually sleeping clean. So kama ni bata wanafagiliwa, kama ni kuku wenyewe wanafagiliwa. So the house is clean. And then now when it comes to feeders and drinkers, hizo zote zinasafishwa before putting the food. Kama iko feeders iko na uchafu inatolewa. Kama drinkers ni chafu zinasafishwa.
Okay.
So that at least water, food and where they are sleeping is totally clean. So that hata now ndege wote bata na kuku wasikuwe na any ailment ama kusikuwe na ugonjwa. Remember magonjwa ya kuku ina spread very fast. Very fast within 2-3 days and then you get the whole thing is affected na inaenda hivi. Yeah.
All right. You've spoken about magonjwa ya kuku. Of course, that is something that we cannot not talk about because when you look at a population like the one that you have, of course, a farmer who's at home with 10 chicken or 50 chicken might be able to manage, or of course, maybe 10 might be able to manage, or even 50 might be able to manage when it comes to making sure that there is no diseases. But now when you have 300 and of course different species of the birds, how do you make sure that you maintain their health? And if you've experienced diseases between the ducks and the chicken, how do you make sure that they are in the right state when it comes to now staying away from getting infected?
Now, whatever we do, especially here, once with time, like now how they are feeding, you can tell which bird is not okay, which one doesn't have good health. So all those which ones that don't have good health, we normally call them, so that if there is any outbreak, they don't spread it to the rest of the birds. So number one thing, if we get any ailment on either the ducks or the poultry, we normally call the ones that are affected, so that the disease doesn't spread. Then number two, we have a vet who normally now comes every now and then to check the hygiene of the general health of these birds, so that every time, at least, tunaambiangwa prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
So you as the farmer, you must be ahead and you must be ready. Anything can come out of this bird. An outbreak can come, kama COVID venye ilikuja, without anybody now amejitayarisha or something. Even on the farm, you must be prepared. Lazima ukuwe na vet karibu, so that when you are keeping this kind of a large amount of birds like this one, at least lazima vet akuwe karibu, so that kukiharibika kidogo anaingia and then he is able to save your birds. Remember, magonjwa mingi ya kuku can wipe out your birds at a very, very high rate in a very short time period of time. Remember, bata, magonjwa ya bata na ya kuku, it's not the same. We find probably they have almost the same diseases. We'll find there is a Newcastle in birds. Utapata saa zingine wanafura macho hivyo. But at the end of the day, when you have a vet in the house, at least all those ailments, you'll be able to sort them out, all of them. And at the end of it all, you find that you have a healthy birds.
Okay. Now, let's move and look at eggs, egg production. How do you manage that in this particular space? Because, you know, this is a very interesting type of farming where you have, ducks and chicken on the same space. So when it comes to egg production, what goes into that? And how do you make sure that you are collecting the eggs at the end of the day?
Now, when it comes to production of the eggs, actually, at right now, the biggest number of eggs we are collecting is from the ducks. Because the ducks, actually, they have been here for quite some time. But actually, these other ones, they are almost now going to that stage of laying. But the ducks, they are the ones now which are laying very well. And actually, some of them, they do brood and sit on the eggs and produce very good ducklings. So when it comes to eggs, and probably somebody who is watching us is anashindwa, how do we differentiate between now the eggs of ducks na mayai ya kuku? Number one thing, mayai ya hawa ducks, they are a bit bigger. Ni kubwa kidogo kushinda mayai ya kuku, normal hens. So whatever now you do, once we collect all eggs, we put them in one basket, and then later in the day we sort them. We'll just get to know these are an egg from a duck, and then this one is from a hen. So differentiating eggs from those of ducks and those of now our kuku is very easy, because my bata ni kubwa, ni nono. Can say wacha tutumie the word nono. Ni kubwa kidogo.
Yes.
Yeah, ni kubwa kidogo. Lakini ya kuku ni kadogo. Mayai kama venye tu mayai kawaida iko. But ya bata ni kubwa kidogo. Yeah. And also now, when you get the other birds like goose, those ones now, they have a bigger egg than these of these breed.
Okay. And now, even as we are still speaking about the eggs, so when you look at the ducks and the chicken, which one are giving you more profitability or profit? Which one are bringing in the profits? Is it the ducks or the chicken? Because someone would want to know, because you see ducks have a sort of a bigger size of an egg, and then the chicken is a bit small. So when you look at both of them, in terms of which one is bringing in more profits?
Now, right now, we can say the bigger number is coming from the ducks. But very soon, maybe probably in a month's time, the hens will be overtaking the ducks. Why? Simply because ducks are actually fewer. The female ducks are fewer. The female hens that we have here, they are more than 150. Actually, the cocks are the ones which are few. The female hens are the ones which are now many of them. We have like 150. So definitely they will be overtaking the production of ducks when it comes to eggs production. And here, generally in our community, and out here even on the market, the market for the eggs of ducks is not as big as that of mayai kuku. So whatever now we do, for us here, we have created our own market, our own market for ducks. So we get the eggs, we brood them, we put them in an incubator. There is an incubator where normally we get, once we collect our eggs, we send them to a friend, a former friend who has an incubator, and then he incubates the eggs for us. And then from there, we bring the ducklings here. But now you find that the market of ducks is somehow booming, and somehow it's opening up. And it comes to consumption, not only in eggs. In eggs, the consumption of eggs is not that big, but the consumption of the meat that we get from the duck is actually bigger, and it's actually expanding compared to that of chicken. Yes, chickens, most of the families have them, but ducks, not so many people have actually gotten to try and taste their meat, and actually it's so good.
Okay, one day I would like to taste that, because you know, especially the ducks and the way we are used to chicken, we've never really taken an interest on the ducks to see how they. All right, so let's move on and look at now when it comes to taking care of the ducks and the chicken, and the type of attention that both of these are supposed to be given. When it comes to the ducks, and the chicken, which one need more attention from the farmer? And which one, you know, sometimes you can say, okay, these ones we can leave them to just walk around. But now, is there any among them that needs a little bit of more attention in order for them to just give out the best?
Now, when it comes to ducks and our Kienyeji chickens in here, you normally find that we give them the same rate of attention. Why? Simply because if we concentrate much on ducks, then our attention for the chicks will go down. So at the end of the day, here in the farm, you find that the attention we give it to the ducks is the same that we give to our chickens. Why? Simply because if today the ducks are infested with any disease, chances are our chickens still will be invaded with the same occurrence. So when it comes to attention or getting to understand how these birds are, we normally give them the same kind of attention. From food, from water, come to managing them, we give them the same kind of attention so that every single bird in this farm, it should be healthy. So that in case of anything, we don't lose so much birds on our farm. So attention is the same.
Okay.
To the ducks, to the chicks, to the bigger ones, attention is the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very well explained. Now, when we look at where you source your chicks from, the chicks, where you source them from, where do you source the chicks from? Because someone would say, okay, where do the ducks come from, and where do the chicks come from, and how do you make sure you pick the right quality?
Now, as you can see how our ducks are, and how our birds, all of them are. Once we collect our eggs, we are able to sample them. Not all eggs make it to the incubator. So, whatever we normally do, once we get the eggs from the areas now where they hatch, they normally lay, we get them to the brood, to the incubator, and then in there we are able to know the best that now will go to the incubator, the best eggs that will make it to the incubator.
Yes.
So, number one, once we get the eggs, we screen them whether they are well fertilized, and then we take them to the incubator. If we get an unfertilized egg, it remains on the farm. And that's where now even us, I enjoy beer.
So you can say all the chicks here,
they are generated from our farm.
Here?
Yes,
from
chicks,
the farm.
zote. We don't go out there to source for chicks.
Okay.
Because now we have gotten cocks from different locations, so that now they can breed here. We can say this is like a small breeder farm. We are trying to change. Remember, when you hear the word Kienyeji, ni yule kuku wa huko nyumbani.
Wa nyumbani.
Nyumbani kabisa.
Yes.
These birds are very Kienyeji, si kama ule kuku wa mayai mwenye amefungiwa huko ndani. Ama caged broilers. No. This one is a free range bird. It can go mahali inataka. It can eat whatever inataka. Simply because hakuna kitu eti it's regulated to. So vifaranga wetu wote wanatoka hapa. Simply because tukiproduce mayai yetu, later on tunaisukuma inaenda kwa incubator. Only the selected ones, the fertilized ones. And then once they hit the incubator, after 21 days, 20 to 21 days, we get chicks. And then they come here, we do a brooding, a simple brooding area. After brooding, zinakaa like 2 months ndani, bado zikiwa ndogo sana, because at that younger stage, hatuachiri nje, because the predators in here, they are many. So once they hit like 3 months, wanatoka nje. And then now they become a full-time free range.
Okay.
So they will remain here like for another 4 months. And then now we can start now selling the bigger ones. The ones zenye tunaona probably don't want to stock them more. Hizo zinaenda.
Right, Gabriel, thank you so much for explaining that to us. This is very, very interesting. All right, I'm going to just hold you right there for a little bit. We're going to go for a short break, but don't go too far. We'll be back. Remember, we are talking about assorted birds type of farming. And I believe, so far, I believe you've learned something. I mean, ducks and chicken in the same space. All right, we're going to go for a short break. We'll be back with more.
Dial star 811 star 802 hash to get this as your skiza tune. KTN. This week on Club Kiboko, we will be at the Hub Park at Hub Karen, having so much fun with different activities and making friends with all ages. Join me for so much fun and adventure. See you on Saturday.
Multi-agency, who are they working for? When do we see these agencies coming into action? Like the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, which is tone deaf when operatives in government are speaking, but will have microscopic hearing potential when it is people from the opposition. And sometimes you see the EAC, the Anti-Corruption Commission acting the same way. You see the prosecution, even withdrawal of charges of the politically correct and persecution of those who are not. So which agency can stand up and be counted? I'm reminding those who man and woman these agencies that you work for the people of Kenya, and that we as citizens, including those working in places of influence, we have our own agency as individuals. And we are under our constitutional duty to uphold and defend our constitution. Remember that. And remember, if you foul, it will come back to you.
All right, welcome back. And today we are talking about assorted birds type of farming. We're looking at chicken and ducks in the same space. And we are talking to Gabriel Kimani, a young man who is doing this. He has 300 of them. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Let's continue with the conversation. So, keeping chicken and ducks in the same space, let us look at the challenges, especially, we've spoken about the good things, the good things. Now let us look at the challenges. How do you go about making sure that the two of these species exist in the same space? What are some of the challenges?
No, the number one thing that we normally find challenge is like now, how we have said, when it comes to differentiation of eggs and all that. But you find that sometimes ducks can bully hens. yeah, ducks, they have that tendency of bullying, especially the younger ones, the younger hens in the coop. So you find normally ducks, they will tend to harass these other ones. But if you have a very good chances, that is if normally they get to a point whereby now, if you separate them, the two of them, if you separate the hens and the ducks, once they come across again, they will normally have a normal fight. So that's why we say let them now be feeding together so that these fights tuone kama zitaishaisha. And so far so good.
Yeah,
It
because you
has
can
really,
see
we have really
ziko
seen
pamoja.
them interact very well.
Yeah.
Kitambo ilikuwa kuku akitokelezea tu hivi bata wanamfuata. Inakuwa vita.
Okay.
But now with feeding, wanakula pamoja, wanakunywa maji pamoja. They have a very good now point whereby now wanaweza kaa vizuri bila fights. I can't say that we have so many challenges because since we started them, I've not seen any disease that is taking them away. So I can say, still from day one, we have really tried so much to keep at least our lot of birds being zikiwa in a very good hygiene. As I told you, hygiene in birds is number one key thing. And that is the bottom line. Not even the feeds, not even the vet that you have. Either you have a qualified one or not. That doesn't matter. But the hygiene that they are in. Even you as Nyakundi, if you're ukiwekwa mahali where the environment is not conducive, do not deliver as much as you can. But here on the farm, bata na kuku wote wamelelewa in a very good clean area, very good safe place for them. There is no predators around, so hakuna naweza sema like sijapatana na very big challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless now the other thing, probably some time back we had a mixture of feeds, and that's where now you heard me saying we started now formulating our own feeds. Some time back we had a challenge whereby you order for a starter, and then somebody else out there, he has mixed something like layers or growers, and then you're feeding it to the chicks. And you don't know. He's just added it in a bag, labeled it a starter chick mash, only to realize probably it was a reyes. And then you find that once the chicks consume them, you find there are 2 or 3, 4, 5 that have actually died. So with time, we started now formulating our own feed that we know that this is a starter, that we have formulated our own selves. These are a grower, we have formulated it ourselves. These are reyes mash, we have mixed it ourselves. So even whatever we are feeding our birds, we know exactly the percentage, how it is, so that in every day we don't find ourselves in a situation whereby we'll be losing our birds.
Okay. All right, so let's look at the weather because you explained, talked about it. You mentioned it, so let's look at the weather and how the weather conditions are affecting or impacting or even giving you direction on how you need to take care of these particular birds because weather conditions, are a huge, they're the ones that guide you on how you need to take care of them. So how do weather conditions contribute to growing these birds?
Now, you can say, for us in here, we are lucky that our weather and the climate of the weather of this area is not like some of the places we have. In our area, the weather is around warm and humid a little bit. And sometimes it gets cold. But that one doesn't limit the birds, unless on chicks. And when we have probably a rainy season and we have something like chicks, we always find that now we introduce the heaters in the brooding system. So something like now on a rainy season, on a dry season. On dry season, we don't need heaters, unless at night on the brooding system. that's when now you can require something like heaters, only to add more warmth to the room. But on a normal day, ducks and these Kienyeji cuckoos, they normally thrive, regardless of kama uko Turkana, kama uko wapi, whether you are here in Murang'a like us, ama uko wapi, it doesn't matter. These ducks will survive. Remember, these are local varieties of ducks. Hizi zingine ni kienyeji. Kienyeji nilikwambia yeye hana shida. Chochote unampatia, he consumes. Borake ikuwe safe. So when it comes to weather, doesn't affect them. Unless on brooding. Na wakati wako brooding, now kukikuwa na baridi sana, we introduce heaters. Kukikuwa na jua sana, now tuna omit heaters. So that is the only time now we can say, like, when the weather is too bad, we introduce heaters to the young ones. Si hawa wakubwa hawana shida mingi. During the dry season, then we don't require all those heaters and vitu za kuweka hawa. Unless on the brooding point.
Now that you're talking about the heaters and all this, let us look at technology and innovations and how it has come to improve how you manage your farm. Because they are really playing a huge part, as you've mentioned, about the brooding and everything else. So when you look at technology and its space in a farm where you have birds, what is the contribution of technology?
Now, when it comes to tech and farming, so many things they have now started. A lot of innovations are coming. Kitambo, we used to only get feeds from distributors, companies, Evo. Today, we are mixing them ourselves. You find that now, something like machines, all those heaters to heaters of brooding, they are there. And nowadays, we don't use even charcoal. That yenye tulikuwa tunatumia kitambo. Remember, charcoal has a lot of carbon. So you find that when you do a charcoal heater in the brooding, wale vifaranga wata absorb a lot of carbon. You see? And ni kama venye tu naambiwa kama mtu mkubwa. Wakati uko na jiko kwa nyumba, una consume a lot of carbon. And it can easily kill you, kukuua wewe, or even the birds ukiwaekea huko ndani. So now we have new technologies whereby now we have gas heaters, we have electric heaters. So it's clean environment. Hakuna any fumes that will be coming out of that coop yenye. It probably will affect the birds. Also, things like now, when we are not around, we can be able to monitor our farm. There are cameras around the farm, whereby at least we get to know. Kama kuna, whether I'm very far, I can be able, just with a matter of checking from the phone, I can be able to see how the feeding was done in the morning or in the afternoon, how the birds are in the compound. At least that one saves us most of the big time. And then issues of something like cameras on the farm, you find that they will save you even from the predators. Predators si lazima awe mnyama. Predators, they are even watu. Mtu anaingia kwa boma, anachukua kuku wawili watatu, anaenda na wao. So now monitoring our farm right from the phone is quite very, very, very easy. With the help of our cameras, we can be able to now monitor the farm very easily with ease, na kukue hakuna shida yoyote. That is now where at least we are involving tech when it comes to production of these young birds. Whether the cameras are in the brooding point, whether they are out here, at least you can be able to monitor the whole 300 birds where they are, and you can see actually if there is any, in case of any predator, you can see. In case of anything, you can actually see it on the phone. So that is normally how now we have brought tech very close to our farm so that it helps us every now and then.
Also, let's look at ducks. now ducks love water, right? How do you manage even making sure that these ducks access water? How do you make sure at least, in a day they are swimming in water or they have access to water because they survive that way? How does that go about?
Now, in our system here, in the farm, we are lucky. We have 2 dams that we normally use in the farm. So, these ducks of ours, they normally find their way to the dam. And actually, they can go there and then wanaogelea kidogo. So, and then we have now even their own pond. Iko pale, kuna big bathtub that tumewawekea pale. In case they don't fit there, they normally go down to the pond in there. And then now, bata kama kawaida, anapenda maji, ataogelea, and then he will still come back here.
Okay, so that's how you manage
That's how normally we manage them.
Okay.
And it's good to say, huwezi rea bata kama una hiyo pond ya maji.
Exactly.
Yeah, so even the farmers who are back at home, I can clearly tell them, if you want to raise ducks, not only the Kienyeji ducks, even the other goose, those ones, they still need water. Wanataka mahali wataogelea. So once the temperatures are good, you will always find bata huko kwa maji wakiogelea. Wakati ni baridi sana, you won't find them there. But whenever the weather is warm, you will always find bata wakiogelea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which part of the day do you make sure you take them to the dam? Or how many times maybe in a day they go to the dam? Because, and is it daily? So you can also give us that schedule? So
No, actually,
yeah.
here, it's actually on a daily basis.
On a daily
May
basis.
it be in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. Remember, bata mwenyewe akitaka kuogelea, he doesn't send any signal to say that I'm ready to go and kuogelea kwenye maji. So we just open the gates and then they just head there. One by one, moja kutaanza na moja, wawili, watatu, hivyo. Till now you find that there is a good number of them in the water. So later in the day, masaa kama hii jioni hivi, you will not find any huko. Saa hii yuko mahali anakauka, so that by jioni you will not be hata kuwa na maji. At least hata kuwa na baridi during the evening hours.
Okay.
So that sometimes unapata bata aliingia late in the hours, jioni utampata is anatetemeka akiingia ndani. So you find that they have their own way and time. They normally know the time, the best time, especially when the sun is hot. Kutoka saa 5 mpaka saa 9 utawapata kwenye maji. Wakishiba, they don't go far. They just go to the ponds, wanaogelea, wanarudi back.
Okay.
That's normally how they are.
All right. So when it comes to manure, the collecting of the chicken droppings, the waste from the ducks and the chicken, how do you manage that? And do you use them in your farm? And how does that really apply? Because do you use them maybe separately? You can say maybe the waste from this one I'll use on this other side. How does that go about?
Actually, when once every day, you normally collect those kinyesi ya hawa kuku wote, kuku na bata pamoja. And what we normally do, we don't have a specific crop that we'll say, this one tutakuza na mbolea ya bata, ama hii nyingine tutaweka kwenye kuku. No, it doesn't matter. Mbolea ni mbolea. Once we collect it, we mix it very well, both ya bata na hawa kuku. We mix it very well, and then yote tunapeleka shambani. And actually, on the farms, results are good. Yeah, we can say like the areas zenye tumekuwa tukiweka mbolea ya hawa kuku na hawa bata, production is good on the farm.
Okay, production is really good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at another different thing. Let's look at how maybe if a disease comes, the vaccination. And if you've encountered that before, because I think you mentioned you've not really encountered any disease, but now from your expertise, when it comes to a farmer who's rearing all of this, keeping them together, how would you advise a farmer when it comes to the situation of how to deal with diseases and vaccination for these birds?
Once you as the farmer back at home, who is watching us, once you get your chicks, it's good also to get a vet to your farm, so that, especially when you're doing big numbers like these ones, for those ones who normally have 10, 20 birds, those ones, they don't have a big chance to call a vet and come on the ground. You find that once you bring a very big number like this one, you need to have a vet in place, so that at any given moment, he can give you the vaccination record. And then from there, you as the farmer, is your turn to make sure that on that specific day that the vaccination is set to be done, it must be done. Once you skip it, chances are your birds will be affected by a certain disease, by a certain deformity. Remember, when these chicks are very young, there are some vaccinations which is a must to be done. So once you skip them, you probably have ever come across a bird which has deformities. You see, those kind of deformities, they come after probably one farmer or the other one didn't skip a vaccination routine. Once you skip these vaccines, you find that even the susceptibility of your birds becomes very poor. So once vaccinations are done very well, all of them done very right, you find that your lot of birds will be healthy and they will be good looking. Even somebody coming out there, also coming to see what you're doing, or coming to probably purchase a chick, or these bigger ones, they'll still be good.
Okay. All right. So, as a bird farmer, and I can say assorted kind of bird farmer, when you look at farmers who do this similar type of farming, what are some of the mistakes that you would point out that you've also done, and maybe you've now gotten to understand what it means when you're keeping these two species in the same space?
Number one mistake that I've seen so many farmers out there doing is the number one thing, hygiene. You find somebody probably has a caged birds like these ones. If you have a caged birds of this kind of a setup, they can't be in the same room. But out here, they can actually be good. But in the same room in the houses, it's quite challenging. So the next thing that I normally find most people out there doing a mistake is when they are setting up their structures. You find somebody, probably he just dived in the industry of poultry farming. And then later on, 2, 3, 4 months later, you find the farm is collapsing. Why? Simply because he didn't do a research on how is the structures being done, how is the birds being raised from day one when they are chicks up to the maturity. They don't have a program of feeding, all that. Those are kind of mistakes that so many farmers do. Also, you find that when it comes to also feeding the birds, it's good to understand the stage at which your birds are. Remember, all these stages, they come in different feeds. The feeds come in different stages. You can't give a chick a layers mash. You must give them starters, so that at least they can build still from even when they're still young. So that once they grow from the starter stage, they can now upgrade to a grower's mash stage. And then now in there you introduce the grower's feeds. And then later on, once the grower's level is done, then now introduce the layers mash. Or even if you're doing the broilers, just give them the starter, the broiler growers, and then the finisher, and you're done. So now you find that feeds out here, they are of very low quality. And then you find that the other thing, you'll buy a bag of that feed, a 70 kg bag, probably the quality is not guaranteed. You see? That's why I said we opted to do our own feeds, simply because we know what we have mixed. These ones of being told that this is a bag full of CG what and these components, so many farmers are being lied to. But when you actually formulate your own food, you know what you're feeding your birds.
Okay.
So those are a bit of challenges that I've seen. So many new farmers and new people who are engaging in birds production making. Not setting up a good house, it will cost you at the end of the day. Not getting the right food, it will affect your production on if you're doing eggs or meat production. Not getting the right vaccines, your chicks might have deformities.
Yes.
So those are the kind of things that new farmers and or new person who wants to start poultry farming needs to do. Also, I normally encourage farmers, like us, before we started, we had to go out there and learn from others. Get to see their mistake. Come to our farm. Probably you'll see a mistake that we are doing. Go out there, do better than whatever we are doing. So every day, even today, learning doesn't stop. We normally get out there, go see other farmers what they are doing. And if we get something best that we see that it can suit our farm, then we come and implement it. If it doesn't suit us, then we leave it at their farm.
All right. Thank you so much for everything that you've said and the encouragement to the farmers. And you, a farmer at home, I believe you've learned something. I mean, ducks and chicken can exist in the same space. You don't have to overthink it. That is Gabriel Kimani giving us his insights when it comes to this type of farming. We've come to the end of this edition of Farm Kenya. We're speaking about assorted birds type of farming. My name is Calvin Nyakundi. Let's meet next time right here on Farm Kenya.
Kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima, kuwa mshindi, kuwa na uhakika sasa, kulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya.